Thanks so much for joining us. You're watching LGBT, Healthcare and Me, a presentation sponsored by Minnesota Department of Health. I'm Todd Michael Barnes. Our main course today, body image in LGBT communities. What are the dominant images and messages and cultures around body image in queer and trans communities? And how do these images and messages and cultures impact our lives? And as always, the importance of getting our COVID-19 vaccine series and booster shots. Well, the Mental Health Foundation reports people who identify as LGBT experience concerns about our bodies differently than people who identify as heterosexual. In a survey conducted by the Mental Health Foundation, 53% of LGBT adults felt anxious, and 56% of LGBT adults felt depressed because of their body image, compared to 1/3 of adults who identified as heterosexual. In fact, the Mental Health Foundation reports 33% of adults who identify as LGBT reported experiencing suicidal thoughts or feelings because of concerns about their body image, compared to 11% of adults who identified as heterosexual. This week, it seems our Pink Power panel members can relate with challenges around body image, particularly for gay men, often striving for a destination called thin.
Well, what I'll say is, for me, body image has been a thing for me for a long time, and I guess it definitely, I could tell you, when I was thinner, it seemed like I got more dates, or I got more people more interested in me when I was thinner than when I gained some weight. It kind of reminded me of the rejection of being a backup dancer, going to different auditions and realizing, oh, you're too big to be a dancer now. You eat, and it makes, like I was just talking about earlier about the ice cream, like I have gotten to a point where I try to, understand this body image thing on all spectrums, I would say. I think it's weird, like for straight people in the dance world and in modeling and all that. I suffer from bulimia because of that. But then also I noticed, like, I would get so much more attention when I was thinner in the gay community than I did when I was bigger. And it's funny how that goes. That is a true thing that is going on for sure. I would have to say, yeah.
Men with pot bellies, the acknowledgement of body shaming, and body positivity. Pink Power panel members address the media portrayal of LGBT body images, as well as insecurities and self-doubt, and ultimately defining success in a new and different way.
I've been looking at a few things on social media, and I'm seeing people talk about body positivity in the LGBTQ community now, and which has been pretty good to see. It's saying, like, men with pot bellies or whatever, don't feel like you're not attractive. You're just as attractive as everybody else. And I'm seeing that, but I'm not seeing that across the board. I haven't been out into the dating pool. My heart's been kind of lazy on that. So it's been kind of difficult to like gauge the spectrum of dating with that, because I haven't really been out there to be seeking anybody right now, like that I'm big again. It's kind of different,
And are you on pause because in part you're feeling bigger? Not that you are, but that you're feeling bigger? Is that what impacts it?
Yeah.
How does that play itself out?
Because I like to dance, and then I don't want to be on the dance floor with a tight shirt on or something, and then my belly's jiggling all around and everybody's paying attention to that versus the dance move. So it's like, that is something I do think about a lot, that can kind of hinder me from going to do certain things. But I know how to dress it up so it's not a big impact. I'll say it like that.
Like I've flexed weights at different times in my life, so 255 pounds at one point in time. Coming into what is idealistic to me, to like what the media portrays, to what the gay man is supposed to look like, I don't fit those standards. I think that all of us could say that we have insecurities. I think that all of us could say that we have some type of self-doubt that lingers around image. We think about like taking a picture. 5 years ago, you see yourself and say, oh, hey, I looked good. And then, but at the time, you're like, I need to lose like 10, 15, 20 pounds. And, this isn't right. And I need to do this and that. And so now, 5 and 10 years later, we're wishing we could look like that picture, And so really, what I'm trying to focus on is like, this is me, this is who I am. I have to learn to love and embrace that. Otherwise, I sacrifice other areas of my life. Like if I get caught up in those insecurities and those self-doubts, then I'm really taken away like on how successful I can be as a person. And like my version of success is no longer what it once was. I'm successful in the ways that I make people feel. I'm successful in the ways that I help out the next person. I'm successful in selfishness instead of selfishness. And so that body image issue has definitely come. It's definitely something that never leaves for me. I'm conscious to it, but I'm also conscious that I'm a lovable human being.
Joe Franco, Pink Power panel member, says as a person in recovery, the challenges with achieving desired body weight and subsequently body shape are much more pronounced in public than in private. At home with his husband, he says it's one thing, and out in the big real world, it's another.
This is a subject that I struggle with. I used to look a certain way. When I was younger, I could do whatever I wanted as far as diet and exercise, and I stayed the same. I looked the same. I looked fit. I was thin. Now that I'm in my mid-30s and I've recovered from drug use, I'm not thin anymore. And something that I'm doing to try and change that is, I go to the gym. I stop drinking soda. I am watching my sugar intake. For me to feel good about myself because of all the pressure of society and the gay world, I want to be in better shape. I don't like having a belly, and to get myself to where I got to go, I had to make some changes, and I had to add a gym routine. So every time I watch a show and there's a gay character, or every time I see gay people on social media or anything, they're fit. So in my head, I have this idea that I have to look like that or I'm not good enough. Even though I'm in a really loving relationship, at home, I feel fine. I feel okay about myself. I get told that I'm beautiful. When I'm out in public, I hold myself to this unrealistic standard, like, I have to look like that. Did you see that person? That person had this, this, and this. It's hard for me to look at my good qualities and be proud of them when I feel a certain kind of way about us, like how I look in the mirror. I am my harshest critic. And I do blame the LGBT, especially the gay community, for, holding each other to this unrealistic standard. We're very mean to each other. As much as we should be uplifting each other and accepting everybody, because we've all been through a lot, and we should be in this together.
And gay people as vain people? What are the body image standards in LGBT communities? How about being comfortable with your dad bod? Gay men have often been called queens, but the crown Monsees Franco refers to in this next segment might just be one tiara we shouldn't be trying to win or wear.
And I would add to that by saying that within our own insecurities as humans, within the gay culture was born vanity, and like they wear the crown for being vain because uh, they want you to keep up on not only your body, but the kind of clothes that you wear, the car that you drive, the house that you live in, the job that you have. And those standards are so far-fetched that I get why 1/3, the statistic that you put out there, 1/3 of LGBT individuals contemplate suicide or struggle with mental health in those ways, because the pressure to be, to be what people want you to be rather than to be who you are, it's too much to take sometimes.
I totally agree with Monseius and Joe on this. It's very much a standard that we're supposed to try to have or look at. And whenever they show us on TV, we either got 8-packs, the hugest pecs in America, the tightest everything. And it's like it can be baffling to just want to be like, I just want to be a normal guy just with a dad bod and feel okay with that, and not have to feel like I need to go get a BBL to look good,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough place to be because I feel like the more changes I make and the harder I work out, that I should be, I should see this change. And I guess when you're checking yourself out on a daily basis, you don't notice them, but I feel healthier, and that makes me feel good. Yeah, I think a lot of it, you're right, is internalized shame and hate and all of that. Growing up in a society where you're told being gay is not okay, and you will find something about yourself that you don't like, and if you can't get out of your head about it, I know personally it's a tough place to be.
Coming up on our next episode, the continuation of our discussion on body image in LGBT communities. This episode is dedicated to any queer or trans person who may be feeling alone or feeling bad or uncertain about your body, or any person at all who may just need a friend, because here, our sacred word is all. I recently spoke with Ruth Linfield, Minnesota's epidemiologist from the Minnesota Department of Health, along with Minnesota Department of Health COVID Community Coordinator Supervisor Dai Vu and Renika Evans, a contract manager at the Minnesota Department of Health. For this episode, we hear from Ruth Linfield about the importance of getting our COVID-19 vaccine and booster shots. And the next episode, we hear from Dai Vu and Renika Evans about how things are going with the COVID community coordinators out in the field. Health-related headlines are next, but first, Ruth Linfield from the Minnesota Department of Health.
And there is still a lot we're learning about this virus, and this virus continues to evolve. People, I'm sure, remember the big wave we had this winter with Omicron, and the Omicron variant of SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID, has continued to evolve. And we are continuing to have virus circulating in our communities. We actually are seeing some increases in cases over the past 2 weeks. The rate of increase is not the way it was at the end of December, but the virus is still here, and we need to be aware of that. And we need to continue to try to protect ourselves and our loved ones. I do want to share that my area of expertise is infectious disease. I am an infectious disease physician as well as an epidemiologist, and really have spent my life studying and responding and preventing infectious diseases. And so when I think of prevention, the most important thing is vaccination. And we are so lucky to have effective and safe vaccines. There's the 2-dose primary series for the mRNA vaccines, the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines. The J&J is a 1-dose, but then we have the boosters. And so certainly J&J, there's the recommendation for booster doses and the recommendation for booster doses for the mRNA vaccines for everyone 12 and older.
Health-related headlines begin right now. The Miami Herald reports 4 members of a Broward family were charged with attempted murder last week as a hate crime after beating a 21-year-old gay man for 13 hours, leaving him to die because the family thought the gay man made their son gay. After 9 months, the family found out one of their sons was gay, and the father, mother, and 2 other sons broke into the gay man's house in Pompano Beach, Florida, and attacked him so savagely, the man was left blind. All 4 family members are charged with first-degree attempted murder and burglary with battery and kidnapping. The family held and beat the man for 13 hours. Police found the victim after being on the property for an unrelated call. The victim was medically intubated for almost 1 month and only told police what happened months later after he said he regained his memory of the incident. The victim has over $100,000 in medical bills from 4 surgeries and has been told it's highly unlikely he'll ever regain eyesight again. Family members who have been charged are Ukrainian refugees. They've run a successful door and interior renovation company in Florida for years. The family has many supporters who have started an online petition asserting the family's innocence, which reads, "The accusations are completely false and need to be defeated and ultimately dismissed." The Supreme Court of South Korea handed down a landmark decision ruling against the military's ban on homosexual activities. This erases the guilty verdicts for 2 gay male soldiers who were indicted for having consensual sex while off their base. The 2 soldiers were among a tally of gay soldiers detained in 2017 on the suspicion of having homosexual relationships. Previously, a transgender woman who had been kicked out of the South Korea military following her gender reassignment surgery killed herself while pleading to be reinstated. News Channel 8 reports Human Rights Campaign recently put up new billboards in Tampa, Orlando, and Tallahassee, Tallahassee being Florida's capital city, which read, "Welcome to Florida," with the Sunshine State replaced with "Don't Say Gay" or "Trans State." The Human Rights Campaign billboards are in direct response to the Parental Rights in Education bill, often referred to as the Don't Say Gay bill, recently passed and signed into law by Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida, which prohibits talk of sexual nature with children in K through 3rd grade. The Hollywood Reporter, as stated by the LA Times, recently reported the new movie Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness will not be seen in theaters in Saudi Arabia when the movie is released on May 6th because of writing in a lesbian character into the Marvel comic series plot. The banning of this movie is just the latest Disney movie to be affected by Saudi's censorship rules. In the country where homosexuality is illegal, the lesbian character in the movie is America Chavez, played by Yoshito Gomez. Previous films which featured gay characters have been banned from the kingdom, such as Chloe Zhao's Eternals. The LA Times reports some Middle Eastern countries banned the Oscar-winning remake of the musical West Side Story. for including a trans character played by a non-binary actor, Iris Means. Prince Manvendra Singh Gohila of India recently began speaking out against what's known as conversion therapy, a practice of trying to change someone's sexual preference. When the 56-year-old prince came out to his parents in 2002, his parents thought it was impossible for him to be gay because of his upbringing, so they took him to medical and spiritual practitioners where the younger royal was subjected to electroshock treatment. His parents had no idea sexual preference is not determined by upbringing. Prince Manvendra Singh Gohila is the world's first openly gay prince. The prince told People magazine, "Now we have to fight for issues like same-sex marriage, the right to inheritance, and the right to adoption. It's a never-ending cycle. I have to keep fighting." The prince married his husband in 2013 after a failed arranged marriage to a female, with his parents disowning him. CNY Central reports Tyler Johnson, a student at Tully High School in Syracuse, New York, who was censored for writing about the challenges he faced as a gay teen, got to drop the puck when the Syracuse Crunch hosted the Rockets. Johnson gained attention about the school district's censorship when he made a TikTok video calling the school principal and the school district out, telling him they would not run his story in the school newspaper because the newspaper, per district policy, cannot include anything about sexual orientation or religion. The district then hired lawyers to look into how LGBTQ students are treated in the rest of the Tully Central School District. Thanks to the Minnesota Department of Health, and thank you Pink Power Panel members. Remember, Deconstruction Zone, Losing Your Psychic Pounds, Rebooting Who You Are, is now available to order on Amazon. Remember, if you or a loved one still needs to get the COVID-19 vaccine, visit the Vaccine Connector at the website address listed below. Today we discussed the topic of body image in LGBT communities and the importance of getting the COVID-19 vaccine. But what we really talked about, just the same as every week, what we really discussed were the issues of self-worth and living with a joyful love. Remember, LGBTQIA persons and our allies, you are not alone. You can find us 24/7 at our website, www.equitynewsnetwork.com. Find us on our YouTube channel at Equity News Network. And don't forget to smash that like button and remember to hit subscribe. Until our next episode, and until we meet again, it's my hope we dish up some respect and lean in toward love. For all of us at ENN, Todd Barnes reporting.